Hi, my name is Teresa. I consider myself to be part of the Hispanic culture. I was born in Mexico in the south side state of Guerrero, from a small town named Santa Fe. I was raised by my grandmother. I didn't really have a role model of a father or mother, and that was the same thing for my brother and my 5 cousins. My grandma back then had a daughter that was still single living with us, so the total was 9 in a 2-bedroom house with 3 beds. So I often found myself sleeping on the floor as we were taking turns. It was a very humble house with no flushing toilet. We had to use a latrine, but almost all the houses in the town had latrines, and there was no problem during the day, but at night it was kind of scary because of the snakes and scorpions. Thanks God those animals never got too close to me, but my brother and my cousins, some of the cousins, were not so lucky. My daily routine was to get up at 6 in the morning to go to the mill for the corn flour to make the tortillas. By the time I got back home, my grandma was having breakfast ready for us to eat before going to school. We usually came back home at 1, and she will have lunch ready. After eating and splitting the chores in the house, like doing the dishes, cleaning, watering the plants, or the laundry, we have many hours to play. And we were having supper again at 6, leftovers from lunch with a tea or coffee, and more time to play, maybe 1 hour or more. But at 7, it was time to pray the rosary, 7 or 8, every night with no exception. My grandma was very disciplined in praying the rosary, a long rosary, because she used to pray for all the members in the family, naming everyone and praying for all the people in the world. And that was the same thing for Sunday. Was mandatory to go to Sunday Mass, so she wasn't giving us money to spend for candy or dinner somewhere in a little restaurant. About the holidays, I don't remember having a very special one. Maybe my favorite was the parade for the Independence Day that the schools were giving out. But the holidays, 3 were very important to me. The first one was the festival for the saint of our church. It started on the first Good Friday. My grandma was a volunteer to give breakfast, lunch, and dinner to the musicians, the dancers, and people coming from out of town. We had a full house full of smell of different foods. And the second one was the Day of the Dead, because the families were gathering together to bake the traditional bread for the offerings. Plus, there was the other day when we take all the flowers and candles to the cemetery. It was like a festival, a very memorable day. The third one was Christmas Eve, with the family gathering together for dinner and family coming to visit us from outside of town. But before Christmas Eve, very memorable was the processions to pray the rosary every night from house to house, with the procession on the streets in the little town with the flashing lights, sparkling lights or candles. After the praying, we had the piñata and the treats of candies with fruits, and we went back home to keep with the dinner and the family. About my sacraments, they are very important to me, and that's how I grew up on my faith. But communion is the best. It's so very important for me. It takes me to the level of feeling like something's missing when I don't go to Mass and receive the communion. I feel like a connection to God, and it's part of my blessings. Very important to me.